Hello everybody, welcome to another daily dose of gaming news and all that good stuff. And as always, I also publish on Rumble. Seems to be kind of okay-ish, some delays here and there because I think I'm publishing too much videos in 4K. Sometimes it takes like one more day to sync there, but hopefully everything is kind of okay. I think it didn't skip any video so far. Just a quick update. Okay, yesterday I basically didn't do a gaming video. I got myself too busy with my work, but I already had uploaded the Evil Within to the third episode, so I managed to publish that. It was like 5 minutes. It was already uploaded for rendered in 4K on YouTube, and I got everything set up there at the time, so I managed to get that. But yeah, today I got my slot, the usual slot here, to get the daily news videos, and today I should be launching the first episode of XCOM 2 modded with a character created by request from the previous video from this playlist. I will also leave a pinned comment for the instructions for you to respond if you really want to make a character, and as soon as I can, it will be introduced. That character will be introduced in a character pool there. I think that's it in terms of kind of updates regarding things on the channel. Not much happening. I think I will manage to continue to do one daily news as long there is news, or if I have time, and because I've been managing to keep like at least 1 to 2 videos per series on the backlog to be launched from the gaming series. I managed to do like one per day also, so today is going to be the XCOM one, then afterwards Void Busters, then Evil Within, XCOM, and so forth and so on until one of those are finished. I think Void Busters will be finished first because I think it's a smaller game, so that's it. Let's get to the news here. Seems that this kind of the 16 pins kind of thing, a 12 volt power one, the saga doesn't want to end. Throughout this since this happened, I'm kind of the opinion that this was very poorly designed. At the beginning, we didn't kind of know what happened because at first we didn't know that. We only knew basically that 4090s were burning up. So we thought it was something regarding like the high demanding power, and to a certain extent it is, but after a few months of investigations and people throwing, even with Gamer Nexus, doing their investigation, to a certain degree, they at the time they conclude that was it, the thing of their investigation, but it is not. This is basically poorly bad design connections. And then I suppose the fabrication, because it didn't have like a standardized connectors there, because there is like the plugs there. There is like the inserter, the pins, the female resetters. Some of them are designed as dimples, others as like clamps per se. Then clamp the pin on the GPU, no, on the connector. Sorry, the male connectors are on the GPU and on the, I think on the GPU. Yeah, they are on the GPU, if not mistaken. No, or in the cable. Oh my god, I completely screwed up that one. I completely forgot. But yeah, the issue is basically that, and the fact that those new introduced 4 pins, supposedly they serve as a protection in terms of surge, because depending on those 4 pins, how they are connected if they are enabled or not in the GPU, there is like demand on like basically free. I think, yeah, 600 watts. They are like demanding maximum of certain amounts of power. Which one of them? It's 150. No, it's I think it's 150. These are so 4 phases. So 150, 300, 450, and 600. I think it's what the cable supposedly it's capable of. But the fact that that this doesn't socket well on the GPU side, I still can't figure out why they designed that like this. There is sagging, and there was, and I only realized that because nobody basically was reporting this specifically, because the cable can be inserted properly. You got the clipping and you got everything inserted properly. But here on the J2 Sense, let's see, yeah, as you can see here in this kind of a GIF thing, you can see that it wobbles the same, so the connection is not properly fitted like in normal connectors, like normal PCI connectors, and the fact also that these pins are more thin, so in terms of resistant, they tend to be more resistant, which is accumulates more heat. Electricity at the molecular level as it's get introducing more resistance because to a certain degree the contact surface area for this kind of power, it tends to be basically on the limits of the, I suppose, of the resistance, because 600 watts passing through just one cable, it's different than having like supposedly 4 cables, because each cable usually it's rated for 150 watts. It's different than having like 4 cables passing 150 watts through them, and then of course even in spreading the resistance here through the board, because you have 4 different kind of connectors on the PCB itself. In terms of heat dissipation and everything, in terms of resistance on the traces on the motherboard, it's completely different how it handles. I'm not an engineer, so that's why I can't give you like proper numbers, but the overall thing of how electricity works, it's like this basically. But yeah, it seems that MSI now is rejecting some RMAs, so returns, due to the fact that people were using the CableMod, which to a certain extent kind of alleviated the issue, and sometimes it didn't alleviate the issue, mainly because of the fact, even though it was manufactured with within specs of the SEGA, I think it's called. It's like a consortium that included Intel, I think AMD also, and Nvidia and other companies, manufacturers. They even though it's on spec, it seems that they have the same kind of issues here, but that doesn't mean that then we enter here in the legalese part here, because if a company accepts the RMAs, if they have been using another company's adapter, which is not like the official one per se, I think in terms of legalese they can get away with that, because it's from another company that was not in the consortium, I suppose, and it at least I don't know how to tell you in legalese, it was I don't think it's authorized, but the fact that it wasn't like in the official kind of thing, like from power supplies, because power supplies supposedly are the official way of doing these connectors, because without them there is no power to the GPU. I think in terms of how they legalized their way out of it, they don't accept RMA because people are using something that it's not deemed official by, in this case, MSI. I suppose there are more companies that will get into, but the fact that we have this, the fact that one of the users got that response from MSI, it's not a good, because when we want to attribute fault to this, the fault is on the design. Now, between the consortium that designed this kind of specifications for this kind of connections, they supposedly should have decided between themselves. I don't know, because they already done a revision also. They launched like a version that I don't know, it's in the weirder name. They like updated the 4-pin design, so at least you have, if it's not fully seated and if it wiggles out, those 4 pins, which are basically the switch on and off, and also serve as the brackets in terms of power demand. If they are not, they were made shorter, so if the connector doesn't sit properly, it will not provide power supply to the GPU. At least that's my understanding of that revision, but that doesn't solve the physical connector issue, which will be maintained as long as they don't do a revision on that connector, the physical connector here, where it's been shown here, the wiggle room here. This thing might not seem too much, but it's enough for you to because again of the pins resistance and the pins length and the surface area, the more you reduce the surface area in terms of contact in electricity, there will be more resistance being built up there, because you have to pass the same amount of electricity per se in the smaller area of contact. So it creates more resistance, generates heat. That's why the cables and the adapters are melting in these cases. And usually it's about the 4090, because it's the only one that I think triggers the 600 watt demand power. I think the 4080 just needs uses 450 maximum, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, overall, this will continue as long I think to a certain extent, because this is just a connector issue, and even like in terms of power supply thing, it's just a cable. Like 90% of the PSUs that they are ATX free with ATX free compliant kind of a thing here. I think it would serve better for them at the time, recognize that there is an issue, do a recall, and just replace, or do like even don't they have like official channels. You might these kind of companies usually use even like shops, they use like a third party engineers that repair this, like repair shops, Northbridge Fix and all of this. They have some partnerships with some sorts to fix these kind of things. It's just replace for a proper connector, or even just replacing the cable. They can share the cost, and we don't have like unsatisfied customers with the default design on this power connector. The main thing is the AMD dodged the bullet to a certain extent by luck, I think, because they weren't on time to introduce this connector. They didn't have enough time to implement this, so they had to stick with this. They didn't avoid because they foresaw some kind of issue. They were part of the design team and they were all on board. They got lucky on the 7900 XTX and the XT. They didn't have time to implement this kind of pin because they wanted to introduce, because they were part of the consortium, and it was only a matter of time of being late to the game. They didn't manage to implement this on the higher end GPUs, and they stick with the free pin on the XTX and 2 pins on the XT, and that basically avoided this debacle regarding this connector. But they were on board with this, and of course after all these issues start to appear, they just stick with the old PCIs for the rest of the launch, especially with the 7800 XT for sure. In terms of initial planning, they were about to have also these pins, but they reverse back everything. But yeah, we will continue to see this kind of issues again. I try to explain the best I can in my ability of using proper technical language to explain how this, in terms of theoretically how electricity works, because I have kind of some knowledge of it, even though I'm not an engineer, so I cannot give you like proper figures because I don't have capabilities to investigate this. But yeah, basically it's a lot of things. It's being the main thing, it's faulty design on the connector itself, and how I think, in my opinion, the cables were designed and the connections. I don't think they are not handling the power delivery properly. I think they should have thicker cables to make sure that they can handle more wattage, and even the pins should have been like thicker, so they can have more surface of contact to avoid this kind of issues. Even if it is like poorly connected, if you have like a good surface area, in worst case scenario, it shouldn't be happening like this. But yeah, it is what it is. Fortunately, one of the main reasons when I built the PC, I went through AMD because in my budget I could have gone for 4090 probably. If I got a good deal, I would probably could went for 3090, but I didn't want to have that hassle and having that worry in my mind, because I just plug my PC and I just want to do my things, and that's it. And so far I didn't have any issues, like the normal issues of having it's mainly regarding software. It's not the driver issues or even the GPU issues. I put out a lot of stuff here, even like I use DaVinci, so I didn't have any issues here. I use from time to time the Photoshop. I don't have any issues regarding compatibility. There is like still a mind share of AMD, but not being that good, but I'm still performing well. Even the CPU, I don't have any issues. I'm quite satisfied with it. I will do I will be doing like a channel update with my satisfaction in terms of overall of the system, going in more specifics if I have any kind of issues. But yeah, let's get for some gaming news, at least some good news around here. Bloodlines 2, Vampires the Masquerade, kind of a deal here. Supposedly is going to be made or ported to Unreal Engine 5. At the time, from all the delays, and we got ourselves a little interview from the oh my god, following the person, we got an interview here. Guys, we got some quotes here. Yeah, Sean Greeny, Vice President of the World of Darkness IP and Paradox at Paradox. Basically, yeah, they managed to get because the game was supposedly come out in Unreal Engine 4, so they decided to go for Unreal Engine 5. They are confident of the release window for fall next year. But yeah, the studio, the Chinese Room, did some good games here, like kind of RPG and exploration and first person, so I think kind of okay-ish. We'll see how it goes. They already basically cleared the alpha phase. That's why they are confident now, more confident that the fall of next year could be the launch of the game here. But yeah, basically this last turn they just canceled the deal that they had with the developer. Basically, they supposedly didn't have the same final vision for the game, so they had the collaboration with the studio. And the Chinese Room guys seems to be on par with the same vision. So the main thing that I think that they altered here, it was the main character is like a newly embraced thin blood, so I guess a new turned vampire. It's rather an elder vampire who suddenly awakens for a long time spent in torpor. We'll see how it goes. Seems to be at least now, after all this almost 5 years of delaying and cancelling and not cancelling, we should be getting a fixed release window here. Again, Starfield, a lot of mods coming out, even though it's not officially launched. I think it's be tomorrow, 6th of September. That is going to be officially, so no early. The early access was at 1st of September, and we already got texture mod packs. We got some script extender here because of how the engine works, the creation engine. I know the script extender is very important to be more compatible. So because it allows you to do more complex mods, I think that's the main purpose of the script extender. At least I think it's the thing that since Fallout 3 they had the script extender because Fallout 3 I think is the first version of creation engine. Then afterwards I think it's with Skyrim. I think that's the order they will launch. Yeah, the script extender is very good for introducing more complex mods, and I think the ability to have bigger mods. I think. Not absolutely sure. I'm not very in mods, how they internally work, but I like very much mods. But there is already some texture packs for like lower NPCs, so it can alleviate a little bit the performance and bring up a little bit better textures. And yeah, basically after for sure when officially launches the game, and especially after the creation kit is launched, which is basically by the end of this year, I think we will have better quality mods and more easily integrated, like click one button click and you have everything set up. usually I think how creation engine basically works. And for sure afterwards we will have like those more complicated mods, for example like custom worlds that can be done, some custom quests, because a lot of stuff uses randomized generated things there, and that can be kind of an issue in some aspects. Trying to, of course, it will not be fixed with just changing some ini files. This has to be basically done with the official support from creation, yet not mistaken. But yeah, it's good to see that at least people are trying to alleviate in terms of performance, because I think this blows every kind of PC. I heard that the 4090 4K Max just barely hit 60 frames per second in some areas of the game, in the main hub, I think. I don't know the name of that main hub on the beginning of the game from what I saw from some benchmarks. So yeah, it's a little heavy on the GPUs and CPUs. We got also Cyberpunk Phantom Liberty. There is a kind of people might not be thinking like the free update 2.0 it is what it is. Some clarifications here. You got on their official site that there is a lot of stuff that I don't know if people are getting like misreads on that, but basically what is coming free, it's like the design skill tree and perks, except for the relic tree thing there. There is the revamped cyberware and new capacity system, so the cyber psychosis kind of gameplay there. There is going to be vehicle combat and car chases, combat AI improvements. The police system is revamped, it's also there, is for free. UI and UX improvements are also free. Loot items and crafting changes also free, and new music, it's also free. Of course, in terms of the paid expansion, Phantom Liberty, of course, is the location, the storyline and characters, the gigs, boss fights and everything there. The vehicle missions and airdrops is going to be, I think, locked to the expansion itself, of course. Again, the relic tree system, tree and the abilities associated with it, of course, going to be locked in the expansion. And some items, mainly weapons, cyberware cards, all that thing. Vehicle missile launchers, that's a new one. And of course, level cap increased to 60. Of course, it's a paid expansion. Some of the things are going to be exclusive and make sense in this case what it is basically for this expansion. The rest is it's a lot of stuff still. The fact that they have like especially the police system, I think it's like similar to like GTA level styles, like 5 levels, and 0 it's nothing, and 5 it's everything the world is going to hand. And the redesigned skill trees and perks. Of course, the AI improvements. If it was not for free, I don't know how can you integrate that with the expansion only. But yeah, I think it's pretty decent, and I will assume that the expansion is not that small. Given that I think Lockdown is a big area that is locked out to a certain degree from the main game. I think it's a huge area, and I will assume that we will have a lot of good reviews on the. But I will wait more info. It's by the end of this month, so we should have some news by then. Got the Tokyo Game Show. We got more like studios and developers launching their lineups here. It's a shame. Level 5, which I follow more mainly because of the Ni no Kuni franchise. And they also have like Professor Layton, and basically that's it from what I remember from them. They don't have anything regarding Ni no Kuni. They only launched I think 2 games. They remastered the first one. Yeah, it is what it is. We got the Deca Police, Fantasy Life. A lot of them is for Switch, and some of them for older systems here. Got also SEGA. We got the Endless Dungeon. This is a kind of interesting one for PC. Supposedly it's going to be playable there. Very interesting because it's like there is a Dungeon of the Endless and something like that. I think it's from the same guys. It is kind of a roguelike kind of a system with some random generated stuff, I think. Like isometric views. I think it's what it is, this game. Then we got also like a Dragon Gaiden, if you like the franchise. I never played any of these games of the franchise, so I'm not familiarized with that. Got Sonic, of course. Got ATLUS, which is Persona franchise basically. And there is here Warner Brothers Hogwarts Legacy. I don't know. I think they already launched the game in every platform available. We're going to have a trailer. I don't know. There was no plans of launching anything more. No DLC, no nothing. I don't know. Maybe we get some kind of surprise here. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I find it weird being there. Of course, a trailer of minute and a half doesn't occupy a lot of space, but the fact that it's announced there, I find it a little bit strange per se. And finally we got Final Fantasy XVI, officially again confirmed for PC. Of course, there is the exclusivity of 6 months for PS5, then supposedly will come out for at least Xbox. But then again, you have to have a port for PC, which supposedly it's been worked on, but there is no official like launch date for that. The thing is that I was not kind of aware. The PC port for the Final Fantasy 15, sorry, was pretty decent, given that they have like a lot of options and dedicated for PC, like I assume FOVs and everything, sliders for you to get to squeeze out performance from your rig. But yeah, the engine it's different, or at least the version of the Luminous engine. I'm not sure which engine it's used here. They say it's a custom one. Luminous was also a custom from Square Enix. I'm not sure if it's like an upgraded version of this engine, but yeah, they are. I suppose they are working on it. I assume 1 year counting from the launch date of this game when it came from PS5. But yeah, we'll have more news for sure when it comes out for that. But yeah, keep I will keep my eyes regarding the PC version for this. I played like half a dozen games from Final Fantasy, I think. But yeah, I'm not followed this so closely or knowing everything regarding this franchise, but I kind of like the games that I played. And Final Fantasy, the one that I remember most, Final Fantasy X, I think, or 9, and some older ones. I don't remember the numbers. I played it a long time ago. But yeah, they are good games if you enjoy for what they are. Finally, going to wrap up some gaming news. We got it overextended here. We got still Days Gone until the 7th of September, 67% off. We got also Hogwarts Legacy. Was this 30% off? It's a good deal, $42 give or take. Also we got God of War 40% until all of them 7th September here, so 2 days until this deal closes. We got Cyberpunk Vermifall. We got a demo here if you are hesitant, but it's very positive. It's like pixel arty, kind of XCOM-y in the gameplay kind of a feel here, and it's 45% off, so basically $8 for a game, and I think it's pretty good. It's more about on the run, so you don't have like a fixed base. You make your base in the campfires, from what I understood, but to upgrade the characters and everything. But it's like more on the run of the city itself. I assume Vermifall or Cyberpunk. I don't know which kind of city it is, what the name of the city is. But I'm very paying attention to this game when it comes out. Any kind of deals, we'll be sure to let you know. Also, we got the case of Benedict Fox. It's been more positive. I think they were been improving here. Yeah, patch 2 live. Yeah, they've been patching it because I think it's a little bit on the performance side. It's kind of real janky. But at least at this moment is 50% off until 11th of September. And finally we got Marvel's Midnight Suns. Pretty good game. XCOM with some deck building kind of a thing here, and the story seems pretty it's decent, at least for the Dark Hunter path that I watched from Christopher Hott. Seems pretty good also for mainly what you're going to change. I think it's the some of the choices here and there, but it's pretty decent. It's not Marvel-esque in the sense like MCU style. I think it's more in line with the comic book lore, I think. But yeah, pretty good game, 60% off. The Legendary Edition, I think it's better suited because he has like the extra characters, DLCs, and the stories, and the integration of them in the roster. I think it's done pretty good. But yeah, it's 60% off, and I think it's well worth it. So I'm going to wrap up. I think a lot. The rant on the Dead Power connector, it pisses me off a lot, and sometimes I get a little bit trying to explain the best I can how things work. But yeah. I'm going to wrap up here with my plug on my Patreon, and yeah, you know what to do. It's just it's just one tier. It's just for extra help. Nothing is no content will be locked out of it. I might be doing maximum like time sensitivity content there, but basically will be it. The rest I cannot offer at the moment too much. Because I don't have time to dedicate just myself to the Patreon itself, but it's something that if you're able to get the extra help from me to continue upgrading my PC and mainly now for in terms of storage, because the files take a lot of space. But yeah, basically that's it, guys. I hope you have a full day, and I will see you in the next one. Until then, Kunamy Master out.